We shall examine the evidence acquired yesterday. A wood trinket, substance from Fowlett's washstand, and the gloves I found at Sherringford Hall. We shall examine the evidence acquired yesterday. A wood trinket, substance from Fowlett's washstand, and the gloves I found at Sherringford Hall. Let me study this more closely. A very fine white cotton. I recognize the style of this trinket. Let's examine it under the microscope. Greasy substance. Very interesting. I could not wait for you much longer. We have but a brief moment to discuss your notes before joining the inspector at Sherringford Hall. Poor Lestrade must have spent a terrible night.
My word, Holmes, even you have admitted that this case is uniquely perplexing and difficult.
You are, of course, correct. I still have not arrived at a reasonable and definite explanation of these events. You see, Watson, our success lies entirely in our ability to sift through the vast amounts of facts and evidence we have at our disposal and discern which items are of true significance. We cannot allow ourselves to be blinded by the superficial logic of forced hypotheses. We also must not overlook the trifles, as by their very existence they can destroy the most solid of theories. Watson, consider this. All persons intimately involved with the preparations for the reception knew the precise position Sir Bromsby would occupy on that stage. We must remark that they had this knowledge for at least a week beforehand. Numerous experts have made much of the fact that the deadly shot was of unnatural precision. We have also learned that Horace Fowlett was a renowned expert on all types of mechanical devices and automatons. Then Fowlett is found dead a mere 2 days ago. These facts give rise to a serious line of inquiry.
I find your deductions quite probable, Holmes.
But how can we explain the guest list with notes? Any probable theory about these events must correspond in all ways, including the smallest of details. Watson, I have a general idea of what you discovered during your return to the Flatham railway station. Please correct me if I get any detail wrong. You learned from the station master that several minutes before the arrival of the last train to London, 2 men entered the station one after another. First, there appeared a tall man clothed as a worker. His hat was lowered to hide his eyes, his right hand bandaged. He took a place in the right corner near the platform. A few moments later, Horace Fowlett came in and sat down on a bench. He spoke briefly with the station master and by all appearances seemed to be freezing. I can add that you have probably learned that the station master began to work in Flatham only 4 years ago. The rest you can tell yourself.
Really, Holmes, you were right concerning the information I received from the station master. When I entered the railway station, Hello. If you could, I need some information regarding the last scheduled train to the north, specifically the one that ran 2 days ago.
You're one of those fellows from London working with Fletcher, aren't you? Wait a second, let's see, 2 days ago, or rather 2 nights. That was the night when Mr. Fowler was here.
Did you see him?
As clearly as I see you now. But he didn't seem well, he was all muffled up, and every time he opened his mouth it was to cough. The people from the village say that he's an odd one who's always amusing himself with gewgaws and puppets.
Do you see him often?
No, I don't know him that well, because he didn't travel very often. I didn't think it was a good opportunity to make his acquaintance, but he wasn't able to say more than a few words without suffering a sudden coughing fit. It seemed he was travelling to the north. However, I cannot say with any certainty that he arrived there.
Was there anyone else on the platform?
Yes, there was a fellow. I could see his face beneath his cap, and for a second I thought he had a revolver in his pocket, but then I noticed that it was merely his hand. It was all done up with a large bandage, due to some wound, I suppose.
Where was he, exactly?
He stood in that corner over there, and Mr. Fowlett arrived a bit later. I heard the sound of his coughing for about 5 minutes after that. When the train arrived, they boarded the same carriage.
And where might I find this train carriage?
Why, right here. They always use the same carriages when they put together the night trains.
Aha, and here it is. This is most advantageous.
If it would be a help, I can hold the train for 1 or 2 minutes at the station, so you might have a look inside.
Thank you very much. Well, I must investigate these matters.
Until later, sir.
There is nothing of interest here. Someone has forgotten their cap, and I believe that hairs on it are red. It could be evidence. A Cherokee cigarette, the same as Holmes found at Sherlock Hall.
A red hair. This is splendid, Watson.
I did not dare to disturb your thoughts on our way back to London last night. I had quite forgotten about this hat.
What can we do for you today, Mr. Holmes?
Come near, Wiggins. Mind you look sharp. There'll be an extra guinea for the lad that finds him.
Goodbye.
We must leave now, Watson. Let us return to Sherlock Hall. Cabby! My respects, madam. It would seem that you have received good news.
Oh, it's Miss Bromsby and her admirer, Lieutenant Harrington. It is wonderful to see love bloom despite such tragic circumstances.
Have you ever met Wyatt Collins?
The nephew of the late Sir Bromsby? Oh, I have seen him just a few times since I was hired at Sherringford Hall. He stopped visiting the hall because of a quarrel with his uncle, I think.
How would you describe him?
He was a very tall and slender young man with a bright red hair. He's not well mannered.
Have you seen Inspector Lestrade?
He is with Miss Bromsby and Lieutenant Harrington in Sir Bromsby's office. He's waiting for you.
Thank you for your assistance, Miss Lambert.
You are surely welcome.
Hello. You seem to be in a fine mood.
Oh, yes, because I am sure that Miss Bromsby and Lieutenant Harrington will make a splendid couple. He's very handsome and rich.
Wait, and how do you know this?
The brother of my cousin's boyfriend is currently employed in the Queen's Army Hostel. He said that the lieutenant gave him a very generous tip when he carried the lieutenant's trunks during his move.
You don't say.
Yes, and if they decide to get married and make their home here, we won't be afraid for our jobs. And considering their youth, the family wouldn't stop growing anytime soon. I used to be a nurse, you know.
Well, I must leave you now.
Please say hello for me to your doctor friend.
Hello, Mary.
Hello, sir.
Tell me, Mary, do you remember Wyatt Collins?
Oh, he's a black sheep, that one is. He had a bad habit of stealing from the wine cellar at night. Then he was so saucy, he tried to pin it on the staff the next day. Can you imagine that?
So you weren't fond of him, on the whole?
He spoke ill of everyone. Why, I recall the day our master tossed him howling into the street because a blackguard dared to slander Mr. Grimble.
Well, I will see you later, Mary.
Goodbye.
Well, it's not too early. I've just informed Miss Bromsby about Mr. Fowlett. Besides, I told her about the notes that suggested Sir Bromsby's wish to amend his will in favour of Mr. Grimble. According to our solicitors, this new development does complicate the succession. Let's hope Mr. Bromsby's safe contains an official document which will allow us to see things more clearly. I do hope you've discovered the code, because I did not sleep well last night and I'm in no mood for riddles.
Do you know the code?
A remarkable portrait of the late Sir Bromsby. Ideal spot for a hiding place. The sequence of numbers found at Fowlett's should help me discover the code. It is simplicity itself. What could this key open? This could be valuable evidence. Bank statements. I have no interest in this. I have no interest in this. I have a feeling that I should inspect this Fairfax Theatre. It appears to be Bromsby Enterprises territory now, and Grimble's office should be nearby.
Not one shred of paper about the inheritance. My superiors keep pressing on me, saying that we're going to a crisis in the city. For now, I'll check into this Richards character. What are your plans?
First of all, I will need this key. I presume that you have had neither the time nor the opportunity to inform Mr. Grimble about the current state of the investigation. As it is the weekend, could you ask him to come in?
Rest assured, it will be done.
Miss Bromsby, I will ask you for your continued patience. I have given you my word that I would discover the truth, and upon my word, I shall find it. Gentlemen, Watson, we must take our leave.
But what are we doing at this place? And why did you ask Lestrade to call Herman Grimble to Sherringford Hall?
To ensure Grimble would not find us here. In the pursuit of justice, Watson, we are once more obliged to bend the law.
Sorry, but why?
If Scotland Yard can be shown the necessity of searching the offices of Bromsby's cement works, many things may happen.
Exactly, Holmes.
Now, Watson, we need to find a way into the cement works. Oh, Watson, it seems fortune favours us. Hello, Mr. Goblet. The last time I saw you, you were filling barrels with motor oil.
Well, I'll be jiggered, Mr. Holmes. It is a small world, isn't it? Your days of roaming the docks are long past now, aren't they? Same for me. Tell me, what brings you to these parts?
Are you the watchman for this factory?
Not official like, this would be Fat Dub's job, but I take his place on weekends and he checks in on the by and by.
Who is regular night watchman?
That will be Marty and his dogs. Why, Mr. Holmes?
In truth, I'm interested in the recent murder of Sir Bromsby. My investigation convinces me that vital evidence may well lie within this place.
Say nothing more. Here's the key for the office. It's the building just to the right after the entrance. The building's in the centre of the workers' cloakrooms. I don't think you'll find much to interest you there. Further in the yard, there's the storehouse for raw materials.
Do you also have the key to the former Fairfax Theatre?
No, I don't have that key. The only key I know of was given to Mr. Grimble when the building was bought. Mr. Holmes, you must make haste, as Dubs has not been by for over 2 hours, so I'd expect him in the next quarter hour or so. No need for thanking me. This is small service indeed for all that you've done for me in the past.
We will return.
I'll wait for you.
Come, Watson. Watson, stay by this window and let me know as soon as you see a large man coming from the other side of the street.
All right, Holmes.
They must have never cleaned here before. This key reminds me of another. Photographs of several completed projects of Bromsby's enterprises. Let's have a closer look. It is young Grimble, and there are visible signs of family resemblance between the two men. What a beautiful model. This is a veritable museum. A an old souvenir from India. I'll examine this statue of Ganesh. A miniature of Bromsby. Is there anything under this tiger? This writing is very hesitant and jittery. Closed. 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 Grimble will know that his drawer was opened if I take this key. I can't keep these documents.
Hurry, Holmes! I see someone coming.
One moment. I must take care that everything appears undisturbed. Quickly, let us secure a cab. I must send several messages of great importance.
Please sit down, Holmes. Even if you do not intend to eat, your constant agitation has been tiresome all evening. Besides, it threatens to ruin my digestion.
Yes, but this activity allows me to concentrate. I suppose in the solving of this case, my brain must have priority over your stomach.
Ah, Holmes!
Hush, Watson. I can hear steps on the stairs. But the tread is too heavy to belong to the person I was expecting. Ah, it would seem that the army has arrived. In time to settle our quarrel.
I hope I've not disturbed you gentlemen by arriving unannounced and at such a late hour.
Nonsense. Please come in, Lieutenant. We are pleased with the diversion offered by your presence.
Well, frankly speaking, I came with the hope that I could learn something of your progress on the case.
But you must tell me first, what is your interest in this case?
Oh, I see. Well, you must understand that, well, to speak plainly, Mr. Holmes, here is my position. I had not set foot on British soil for quite some time until now. A few short days ago, I saw an angel. It was Miss Lavinia, whom I then dared fall in love with. There it is, and I'm not afraid to say it.
My good man, your meaning escapes me.
Several moments later, her father lies dead, and she is considered the main suspect in this affair. But I tell you, this is impossible, because I could not and dared not take my eyes off of her.
So what is your concern?
It seems my unguarded and devoted attentions towards Miss Bromsby during her troubled days have left no doubt as to my true feeling for her. Inspector Lestrade has intimated that the court may consider my testimony to be tainted by my affections, thus my evidence disregarded. What is worse, I could even be accused of giving false evidence.
Ah, that is horrible. We will take every effort to avoid it.
Mind yourself! What do you want of me?
That is why I have come to see you, Mr. Holmes. If I must seem to abandon her to save her honour and her life, then I will leave. Even if it means the absolute destruction of our happiness. But you, Mr. Holmes, could you intervene so that I will not be brought to this terrible choice? I will be eternally in your debt.
Naturally, you must not lose hope, young man. Am I not right, Holmes?
Anything is possible, Watson. Your hope is based on an assurance, which, in good faith, I cannot give, my dear Lieutenant. However, I can give you this advice. Abandoning Miss Bromsby will do her case no good, even if her appearance in the dock proves unavoidable. Well, goodbye, Lieutenant.
I will heed your advice, Mr. Holmes.
Wait, I will see you to the door.
We got him, Mr. Holmes. He was going into the Bromsby cement works.
What did you say, Wiggins?
The man you're looking for went into the Bromsby cement works, mister, to the rear entrance. It was at night. Stapleton spotted him clear as day. Isn't that right, Stapleton?
Here's your money and your extra guinea as promised. Well earned, lads. Bravo, Stapleton!
Sometimes, Holmes, I do not know what stops me from...
What are you going on about, Watson?
You know very well what I am referring to. This brave young soldier is in total despair and broke down in tears in these very rooms. But the great Sherlock Holmes could not give him a farthing of hope or compassion. No, on the contrary, the great Holmes assures him instead that his beloved will likely stand trial, which...
We do not have time to argue my methods. My irregulars have just found the mysterious passenger who took the train with a man presumed to be Horace Fowlett on the very night that Fowler was murdered. Our elusive passenger has been traced to the Bromsby cement works. There is not a moment to lose. I must return to that place. Are you with me?
The Bromsby cement works? Of course.
According to Mr. Goblet, the cement factory will be guarded by a pair of dogs. We need to be very discreet.